one of the things that I miss about television with the advent of streaming services and the DVR, and most particularly my wife's unwillingness when we do DVR things, is commercials. She is not a fan of the commercial, and therefore we fast forward through all commercials when we DVR. And of course on streaming you don't have commercials. Now, I spent a couple of years working for a public affairs consulting firm, which is just this side of a marketing firm. And so I truly value the viewing of commercials when I can watch them. When I'm watching television by myself, I watch all the commercials at full volume. For me, it's not really about the products and the feeling of desire to acquire them. I mean, I'm as much a consumer as the next person, but really I'm more intrigued to try to determine what the target demographic is for the commercials and explore the approaches that the companies are taking and that their ad companies are suggesting to appeal to those target audiences. For instance, why do they air all of the truck and nutritional supplement commercials on ESPN in the morning when I'm working out? I know what you're thinking. This is a strange place to start a sermon about love in the later stages of the season of Advent, although given the blatant commercialization of Christmas, maybe not. But anyway, bear with me. This time of year, no matter what channel you are watching or even on social media, like Facebook, we are bombarded with messages and commercials that attempt to play into the nostalgia of the season. Why? Are we somehow more susceptible to such messages at Christmas time? This past week I watched a video that has been making its way around Facebook this past month. It may or may not be an advertisement. I haven't really figured it out yet. But it's a series of people who lack the ability to see color. And they are being given glasses that allow them to see color for the first time in their lives. The reactions are beautiful to witness as they are overwhelmed by the beauty of even the simplest things now seen in color. I mean, imagine seeing color for the first time. I am not a terribly emotional person, but I could feel the tears welling up as I watched each person react to this moment of revelation. Then one morning while I was working out and watching ESPN, a car commercial came on, not surprising, except this time it was not a commercial about all the powerful trucks you can buy. Instead, it started off with a little boy watching who I presume was his mother drive away. And as soon as she drove away, he started building a snowman. And then he invited all of his friends to start building snowmen with him, giving him very specific instructions. It should be about this high. And then you see an entire neighborhood building snowmen around the street. And then it shifts to that car coming back into the neighborhood, this time with a passenger. And as they enter the neighborhood, the passenger notices a series of snowmen along the road, each one facing the street with stick arms in a salute. And the passenger is in the military. And then it pulls up in front of the house, and standing next to the final snowman is the little boy himself saluting, as who I presume his father gets out of the car, and they hug. It's a moving commercial. All of this, as you might imagine, got me thinking not just about the marketing approaches of these commercials, but about what they are designed to appeal to in us, the consumer. Perhaps it's nothing more than nostalgia or an attempt to bring a little happiness into our lives. But I think it's more than that. I believe the reason such messages resonate is because they demonstrate love. And not simply affection, but something much deeper than that. And that speaks to something inside each of us. There are plenty of jewelry commercials on this time of year when one person is giving another a gift of a bracelet or a necklace or earrings, the response of the recipient is always very nice, as mutual affection is on full display. And don't get me wrong, a bracelet and necklace and earrings are perfectly fine gifts. I myself have an appreciation for watches. But the kind of gifts being given in those other moments that I just spoke of are something different. And the love that these commercials demonstrate is more than just affection. It is fair to say that just as it is strange to start off a sermon talking about commercials, it may be equally strange to start off where our passage starts off this week. You brood of vipers, perhaps we could soften that. You brood of vipers, fa la 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 la. Yet our passage continues, and the tenor of John does not really change. It is intense, shall we say, and the ultimate message is something I believe points to a similar form of love for the people as do these tear-jerking commercials of this season. John is calling on people to think not only of themselves and the more that they want, but to consider the needs of others. Whoever has 2 coats must share with anyone who has none. And whoever has food must do likewise. And to the tax collectors themselves, collect no more than the amount prescribed for you. In a culture then not dissimilar from now, where concern for self can trump all else, it is a call to look to the needs of others and to consider the feelings of others. More than that is a call to empathy. And that, my friends, is something we sorely need in our time. For empathy in this sense and on this occasion serves as the foundation for the kind of love we celebrate today. The kind of love that motivates seasonal commercials. The kind of love that undergirds the entire message of the gospel. It's the kind of love that goes far beyond simple affection, demonstrated through the gifting of a trinket. In this case, love is wanting for others what we want for ourselves. A sense of fullness. A sense of wholeness. It's not wanting more, but wanting enough. In the case of that video promotion I saw on Facebook, this sense of love rejoices in the moment when someone who has, by circumstance, been unable to witness the incredible beauty of this world, when they are miraculously made able to see in full color the fullness of God's creation. You see how meaningful this gift can be as the recipients, one after another, break down in tears for the beauty that they are witnessing for the first time. And we feel in our hearts a sense of gratitude on their behalf. That is love, my friends, when we wish for others to see the beauty in the world around them, when we wish for them to be made whole. In the case of the car commercial I saw on ESPN, which really was not about a car at all, this sense of love expresses itself in a moment of honor and reunion. Honestly, a heartfelt reunion might just be enough to sell cars, as we are moved by the rush of emotion when a child is reunited with their parent who has been away. But in this case, there's so much more. For the one coming home is simultaneously welcomed home and honored as their sacrifice is recognized, filling what can so often be a great gap. They are both made whole as the fracture of their family is repaired and the distance of separation is overcome. But more than that, the returning hero is made whole as his sacrifice is acknowledged and his service is celebrated. And we who are watching are moved to tears, if not motivated to buy a car. That is love, my friends. When we wish for others to be reunited with their loved ones and reminded that their sacrifices, their service is appreciated. When we wish for them to be made whole. This is the love represented by the candle we lit this morning. It's the love that served as the foundation for Jesus' life and ministry. the motivation of God's gift of Christ altogether. A child is sent into a fractured world to bring healing and wholeness to that world. And the message of that child as he grows into adulthood echoes throughout the ages, speaking to the brokenness in all people, in every generation, offering a promise of wholeness in relationship with God and with God's people. It's a message that echoes still today as we confront the brokenness of our time, as we look around and see those for whom wholeness is fleeting, those who have experienced loss, those who are struggling with illness, those who are grasping for meaning, those who are overcome by anger. We see this lack of wholeness across our nation and our world in those whose communities are plagued by violence, those who go without enough to eat, those who are without homes. Perhaps we even see and feel this lack of wholeness in ourselves, my friends. Yet in the face of this emptiness, we are reminded that such brokenness is not the last word, for God desires for us all wholeness. And the promise of Christ is for the kind of love that brings just that into our lives. There's a song first recorded in 1965 by Jackie DeShannon, and I'm guessing most of you know it. It goes something like this. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for you, but for everyone. We live in a world where there truly is enough for everyone. And loving another in the way that Christ calls us to love is not wanting more for them, but rather wanting enough. Wanting them to be whole. This is what the world needs. And I believe that deep down, this is what we truly desire for others. It is why a stranger receiving glasses so that they can see colors moves us. It is why a series of saluting snowmen causes our eyes to well up. It is why we know in our hearts that there is enough for everyone, and should we have an extra coat, or have extra food, or some extra money, we feel moved to share it. Not because the ad gurus are encouraging it, or because John the Baptist said so, or because Jesus taught us, but because God first loved us in this way, desiring wholeness for all of God's people. And so we love others in the same audacious manner. For my friends, love is more than just affection. It is desire that all God's people may be made whole. And it is the actions that we take to make that dream a reality in our time for all people. Amen.